Hi everyone, good afternoon. I am Siddharth Hazra and currently it's 3 p.m. here in India. So who am I? I'm a software developer at Geeks4Geeks, and today we would be having the Postman session for from Geeks4Geeks. So basically this is the Geeks4Geeks API bootcamp and this is the winter edition. This is sponsored by PTM. This is sponsored by Postman and this is where the chapters. So I hope everyone has already enrolled in this course. So if you have already enrolled in this course, this would look something like this. Let me just explain you with my screen sharing. So, yep. So let me just, yep. Your voice is very feeble. Okay, let me just check. Okay. So my voice should be now completely fine. Can you quickly confirm Siddhant Jain? Okay, fine enough. Yep, thank you. So if any of these issues still persist, I would just change the audio. So just let me know. Okay, anyone can just unmute himself or herself and then we can start off. Okay, so basically, what is the agenda of today? The very for you are the host now. Okay, fair enough. So this is where I would urge you that you go to this link that is given in the chat itself. So the registration process, it is, to be honest, it is already shown in the video. So let me just walk you through the registration process of this. So the registration process is somewhat similar to this. Like here, I don't really need to and show the grid view and it's fine enough. And yep. So see, the very
Mail
first,
from the Postman team. So to see how
okay, the very first one is that I would urge that you have already registered in this course. Then when you move ahead, if you register now, and then if you fill out the details, and then it's a free of cost course, and then when you move forward to this, you would be asked the details to fill to get enrolled in the batch. And then this kind of portal would occur here. To just confirm everything, this is from this. Okay, so if you are confused, like if you just lose track or something, like at any point you think that yes, Siddharth Hazra is going fast and I can't really cope up with his speed, you can just refer this video that is given. Okay, now what you really need to do is you need to go to the link that is given. So basically this link that he is clicking is the link that I have given you. Now, at this point, you need to fill out your details to just do it. So I would fill out the details myself and then show you. Already I have done it. So here you need to Siddharth and my name is Hazra. I'm talking about my email. This is my official email ID. Country of residence is at this point is India. And if you're currently in, let's say I have at this point, just to register as a student, I'm enrolling myself as a student. I'm not. So then you need to fill out the school and then you need to fill out the link of the URL. Just a quick heads up, the fields that have this are the mandatory fields that you really need to fill. And this is the course or the program. Here you need to write Geeks4Geeks API Bootcamp Winter Edition. I would just send you in the chat also. Okay, just a sec. I would just quickly move forward. Don't worry. And then you need to, how did you learn about this and all? Now, anyone has any confusions up till this point, you can ask me. Else, we would be moving forward. Anyone has any confusions? You can just quickly ask me if you have. Okay, it's fine. No issues. No issues. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, fair enough. Now, when you move forward, you would be getting a, like after you fill up this.
Excuse me,
Sorry.
sir.
Yep. So now at this point, you would have thank you for your interest, and then you need to click here. So when you click here, basically what would happen, you would be getting the portal of this. Okay. And then again, you need to sign up to their student portal. Up till now, you were registered in their student expert platform, and now you are signing up to their student portal, like Postman Academy they have created. Now you need to sign up on that, and you need to fill out, and now you need to fill out all the details that is again present. Okay. So you can use for faster checkout, what you can use is you can use the Chrome auto creation of passwords, and then you can agree to it, and then you can move forward. Now this is the start of the course. And then when you would get the link, something like this would be there at this point. Please don't do this. Disable annotations for others. Please don't do this now. I will just unshare my screen and again share so that the annotations and all. Okay. Okay. So now I have already registered myself in this portal, but it's still showing I need to sign up. Okay. So this kind of page would occur. Just go to this link. It might happen that at this point. So just go to this and then welcome students. You would get a link in this. Like what kind of link? This kind of link. See, thank you for registering a postman. Like what? And at this point, you would get a link. Welcome to the students program. And I have verified it myself just 51 minutes ago that yep, this is working at this point. Now, what you need to do is this is the very first course after my session that you would be attempting. And in this course, you can read about it, and then you need to complete this course to get a certification. Okay. If you go here, here is the curriculum, and here you need to do complete all the tasks that you have given, then have an unlocked for everything. Okay. And then you give the feedback and all optional and all, submit your postman collection, submit it, and just do it. So basically, this is where, so I think everyone is at the same page as of this. Now, everyone is at the same page. Now they would be getting two courses here. The very first course you would be attempting after this session. Then there would be one more session, okay, of this where I would be teaching you what all things you would be there. And then that would be a project-based learning where you would be attempting this course. Okay. Now let me just see it. Is there some content in some in Postman? Do we need to complete both? Yes, you need to complete both. But I would say that your certification doesn't really rely on completion of the content that is mentioned at Geeks4Geeks portal itself. Okay. Now, and received batch 2. Okay, that's great. And there are some content. Okay. Sir, will that affect our writing the college course? No, it won't affect. Password shows incorrect. No, that won't really happen. I think you have messed up with some email or something. Just check it on your end. Okay. Now, at this point, now if you think that you have a language barrier or something, if you're not understanding anything, feel free to ask me in Hindi. आप हिंदी में भी पूछ सकते हो, तुम्हें बांग्लातेও জিজ্ঞেস করতে পারো, and then you can also ask me in English if you have any queries or something to ask. Okay, it's showing one course just to me, just the first course. Can you iterate once more? I'm not able to see the project. Okay, this seems a bit. So see, what happens is I would just replay this, I would iterate this. What you really need to go is go to this timestamp. Okay, see, at this point he was seeing one course, at this point he was seeing one course. Okay, but when you go back to the host, when you go back to the home page of this, okay, that is the link that I have sent you. Just a sec. Yep, this one. No, the content are not same. Okay, if you go up this, then if you sign again you would receive an email after 1 or 2 minutes. Then when you get there, see, there would be an email out of this. You would get a link in your email. See, and now when you go back to that, you would see two courses. Okay, show you at which point it happens. See, you log into this and you see, welcome to the Postman Students Program. When you log in at this point, see how it is done. See, I would again show you. See, at this point, he's seeing only one course. Then after this, what happens is he would go to the login, sign in to Postman. When he signs into Postman, he would get a link on his email. And then if you go forward, you would see step 1 and step 2, you would get that. And then when you again visit it, you would do this. Now everyone is on the same page. Anyone has any queries or something to ask? Okay. Sir, I have done the whole course, but my test case all not. One test case not passed. Please try to do it. Okay. Nischal, can you tell me the point where you are tripping? Sir, I don't know how to create an API. Should I do Postman certification before learning web development? Yes, absolutely. Like what is basically, I would just teach what is required to just like prerequisite of this course, I would teach in this course. Don't worry. Okay. Sir, session is just all about how to go through the session. There will be instructions given by you today. Yes, I would be. How to get goodies? When you complete everything, then you have the goodies. Okay. You need to name the task as they did. Okay. You need to name the task same as they did. Okay. Everyone is on the same page now. Okay. When will the recording be available? It would be available, I think so, by EOD of today. That is end of the day of today. Okay. EOD, and then what is the deadline? The deadline is in the 1 or 2 weeks. Okay. Second login part. Hello, forgot the second login part. Just see the video. Go to this article and see the last part of this video. Then I would again summarize for the third time and then I would start. What are the goodies? That is still a surprise for me too, because I too would be attempting it. It would be a goodies from the postman. Like this is a common policy that they don't really reveal the goodies. What are the benefits of this course? You would get a certification of this course from Postman itself as well as GeeksforGeeks. Okay, not able to forget pass reset link not received. I think you would receive in the next half an hour or so. At this point, the server is damn busy on taking the registration. Their API. Okay, fair enough. Let's start off. What is this what is a postman all about? So before we dig into postman, I would tell you, I would just give you a glimpse of something. Okay. So to understand what is an API, first let us understand what is an API and what is it all about. See, to understand
energy.
To understand, it is little bit on the easier side. What happens is, let's say I have earned decent amount of money in my software journey, and then I am able to accumulate all of them and open a restaurant. Okay. Let's say my friend is very good at cooking and he would help me with the preparation. Okay? So when someone would order the food, I would take it to him and then I would ask him to prepare the food. After the food is prepared, I take out the food and then give him to him. If you observe a small thing here, the small thing here is that the person who ordered the food is not able to know how the food is being prepared in the back end, how the food is prepared in the kitchen. So what is basically a kitchen? A kitchen is nothing but a backend in this. Okay. And a person who is requesting this is the front end or the consumer that is requesting this. No, this is not language bound. This is absolutely apart from any language. So now, I think many of you have ordered cab services or bike services on the famous services like Rapido that is here in India, Uber, Ola, these all things happen. So if you observe what happens is after you book the cab itself, I can see a map that how far is my cab. Okay, my cab is this far. Okay, he would come at this point. So I know that. Okay. So map is a thing of Google Maps. Okay. The Google Maps uses that. And now Uber is the consumer who is using that Google Maps to use that. But see, there is one small thing that is happening. Uber is ordering the Google Map to show me the map, and Google Map is creating the map for him. But the creation process or how the data is manipulated, what are the different algorithms that are involved in creation of that map is not revealed to the Uber. Okay, this is where the API comes into picture. Okay, that is a kind of interface that happens. Okay, interface that happens. I order a food, the food would come out of the kitchen. I don't know how it is done. Uber orders or hits an API to get the details of the map, and the details of the map are taken out then shown to Uber. And the Uber doesn't know how the map is being rendered. Okay, then which technology I so now the question is there are numerous number of technologies that exist to creating APIs, and I would name few of them. That is Java and all, Java using the Java backend, that is Spring Boot and all. Then Python, Django, Fast API, these all. Then we have the Node.js also. Then we have some concepts like all. So you can take up any of that and then you can do that. But I would show you how we can easily do that without any knowledge. Let's say as of now, let's say I'm a complete beginner. Let's as of now remove my software development degree or BTech bachelor's of technology degree. Just remove everything. As of now, just assume that I didn't have any backend knowledge or creational knowledge of the API. Okay, what to do in that? I would tell you that. See, what I can do is I can simply do something like free weather API. Okay, and then I can go to that. Okay, then see, I would go to the API docs for that. Okay, now if you observe, I can simply hit an API to get the data. Just a sec. Let me just show you how it is done. So we get API for testing. See, this is catfact.ninja. What is this? Get random cat facts via text message every day. So what I can do it is I can just simply do that. And now see, there is a response that is created. Just hit up this. So folks, please just hit up this in the browser. As of now, just hit up to this browser. Just hit it this up. If you would observe, there is a text that is given. Okay. and you are also given the length and all. So now what I can do is, see, there are different forms of API. Okay. One kind of API is the GET API, which we can directly go and check. Like if we hit up this link, we can just check it on the browser itself. Okay. See, this is just getting updated. See, every time, and how, like, I don't really know how every time it is updated, how the cats and all, data and all is popped up. I don't know what is the length. I don't know how of them they are creating. But see, every time I click on this, they would just give me the output of this. So if I don't want to reveal the inner workings, I can just reveal the output by just. Now, how to do this in Postman? So you can just install Postman. Let it open up. So see, what I can do is, see, I can just do this and send it. And I would have this itself. But I would tell you some small instances of this. This website is like, if you observe, I would give you this website and you can hit up this and you can also see the cat facts of it. And other people, like I would take some names also, don't take it personally. Like let's say Ram Teja is hitting up this API. Okay? Ram Teja, okay. So let's say Aditya Raj, Agam Bajaj, they all are going and hitting the API. Okay. They all can hit the API and they all would get responses. Okay. But there is a small problem in this. So if there is a API of maps, like this is fine. But let's say there is an API of maps and everyone would be using that API. Let's say if let's say my friend is working at the kitchen, I opened the restaurant. Remember that example? So what I want is when I ask him to prepare an order, he should prepare. But someone else, let's say a person named as Ankit, comes to that chef and asks him to prepare an order, then he would also prepare the order for him. But the resources are used, if you observe, the resources are used to prepare an order. No? I don't want that. What I want is I want a kind of password management thing. Okay, like what in the world of API, it is known as token. What happens basically, what happens is I would say you a password. I would tell you that go, like this happens in the local shop in India. Na? Go and take my name, he would give you the food. This happens. Na? In the same manner, there is a thing known as API key. So if you observe here, there was one thing written, huge list of public APIs for testing, no key. What does this happen? This is just a password kind of thing. Okay. What happens is they don't want that don't want it to be public and by used by everyone else. Like let's say a person is doing a social work and distributing food out there. So he would want everyone can come and eat the food. But if someone is having a restaurant, then he won't have it. Na? Like everyone can just come and go and eat food without paying. They don't want that. They don't want that. What happens? Like what happens in a restaurant? Big restaurants. What happens? You go to the counter, you order the food, and then you pay for that food. And then when you are paying for that food, you are given a receipt. Let's say this is a receipt. Let's say I would just take an example. Let's say this is the receipt. So you take up, no, okay, I have a better example. Let's say this is a small receipt that you get, the printed computerized receipt. Okay, let's say I have ordered rice or something. So he would give me a receipt of rice. Now, the self-service one. I'm talking about the self-service restaurant. You go to the chef, okay? You go to the chef and you present him this receipt and then ask him, please, please prepare this food for me. And when he would see of this receipt that is paid, then only he would prepare the food and give it to me. If I don't have the receipt, he won't give that food to me. Does this happen in real life? Everyone can write a quick one in the chat if you have observed this in a self-help restaurant. Like everyone has observed this in the real life. Na? You take up a receipt, whenever you would give the receipt, then only the chef would give you the food. Okay. And same happens for APIs also. They don't want, they like if they don't want, like this is free for everyone can just hit up this. There is a concept of key and all. Okay, there is a concept of keys. Okay, like you give him a key and he would use that key to do that. Like see, Uber is able to use maps, but are you able to use the map API? Google Maps API? You won't be able to use it. That is not public. See, Google Maps API. Okay, Google for Developers Web API. If you go that, see, Map Embed API. Okay, so there is a pricing kind of thing. Spotify API. I think everyone has used Spotify API. Spotify for developers. See, they would show you the album or something. Everyone has an API or something. Everyone has an API. Okay. Now I would tell you let's start from the beginning. So now you would ask me, Siddharth, I understood what is an API, but I still didn't get what is the role of Postman in it. You would have this question, like we are able to test this here also. We are able to do the same thing here also. So why not do that in the browser instead of this? The problem that would occur is there are different methods in APIs. Okay, like when you would explore the world of APIs, you would understand. Get API as the name suggests. Please don't do it now. Okay, please don't do it. Now, see, what happens is get API as the name suggests is used to get the information. Post API as the name suggests is used to update an information, kind of. Now there are also put, patch, delete, head options. You would understand those as you move forward. But get API is when you want to get any information. Post API is when you want to update any information. So when you want to get any information, you can do that in the browser because browsers are capable to do post. They are able to do get request. But to do post request, what happens is earlier, what used to happen is before Postman, this is a very good example. Earlier, we used to use something like this in the terminal. We used to write curl and then we used to write this to get all the details. But now we don't really need to do that. We have a UI where we can do that. So then what is basically the definition or what is basically Postman? So I would just use this slide. So Postman is a collaborating AI platform that simplifies creating, using, and testing APIs with a UI. This is the most important part. It simplifies. First, it would simplify because of usage of variables and all. Okay, there are many things like you can reuse a cookie or something. And these all can happen in the terminal also. You can do all these things in the terminal. But Postman gives you an UI to do that. Okay, for testing. And what happens is, like I would tell you the example, like what happens in my industry. as a software developer, how does Postman comes into picture? Like I'm a backend developer. I developed some API. Okay. Now it is still not deployed. Okay, still not deployed. It is in a server which is not public. So what happens is, let's say my manager or my senior SD is asking me, so that can you tell me how I can test that your API? What I can do is I can simply give him a curl request. Okay, I can simply give him a curl request. See at this point, I can, if I simply give him this, if you just post up this, like it makes very easy collaboration. Like if I give you this code and I would tell you also, this is a homework for you. If you paste up this in here, import, okay, if you paste up this, like everyone can quickly paste up this thing that I have given you. If you paste up this, you would have the same curl request in your Postman. So collaboration and all is very easy. Then there are many different ways to share. Okay. Now, yes, it would be available. Yep. There are many different alternatives too. For everyone, there is an alternative. No? So now let us start. We are done. So anyone has any confusion? What is an API and what is the role of Postman? Everyone is clear with this? Can I have a quick one in the chat? Postman is for Java? No, absolutely not. Everyone is clear what is an API? What is the curl? See, this returns the same thing too. Yes, because it is a get API. No? If you post API, things would be different. The facts are already written in this file. Yep. No, it is not. So basically, you can just paste up this. I just showed you a clear example how we can collaborate. Earlier, what used to happen? If I am testing something in the terminal and someone is asking me, so I would again need to go back all the commands that I have given to the terminal. I need to copy one by one and then give him that. But now when you have the Postman, you can simply go to this and you can copy and then paste it. This happens. Okay. So now CURL, basically it is CURL, does not curl. So basically it makes, like what happens is, if you can learn it, you can learn it. So curl command, what happens, you can, like, this is not really important at this point. So what is curl? You can just, what is curl command? See, you can just read of this. You can just search this. But you won't require this as of now, because at this point when you are learning, you won't really require that much of collaboration. Can you explain the entire working of Postman? Entire working of Postman, I don't think it is important. What does Postman do and how it does is not important. What does Postman do is the thing that you should be interested in. Okay, so now I would start presenting of this. How it does is a different scenario. Now let us present, now I would start off this. So basically, this is the API 101. Okay. Yep. So I would just turn on the laser. Yep. So this background, the way we have 5 agendas today. The very first one is, and the fifth one, I'm doing it parallelly. This one I'm doing it parallelly, that is Q&A. Now, the very first one is background on API education. So I'm just gave you what is this all about and how to enroll in this. And then what is an API? Okay, now we would talk about APIs behind the scene. like anatomies and of request and responses, client and server. What is this basically? Okay. Now, see, basically, talking about the formal definition, as of now, we were just understanding API through that kitchen example. But the formal definition is that API stands for Application Programming Interface. It allows two application to communicate with each other. Basically, like see, Map is able to communicate with Uber, or Uber is able to communicate with Map. That is how it is using. It is a contract between the client and server. Remember it, contract. What kind of contract? Uber paid Map to do that because it is a kind of partner API. It is a partner API. Then that is there is one more kind of public API. Someone gave me that endpoint. I gave you the and that was giving me uh, like facts about the different animals. Then you send a request, like one person would send a request and the other person would give him. Like I send a request to my cook and he would prepare me the food and throw me in. Okay, at this point. Now let us move forward. Now, applications of API. What is this? So, communication between servers. Okay, like what happens? Like let's say if you have ever used internet banking, or if you have ever paid in online Amazon, Flipkart, these all websites, you enter out the details. That details go and then hit their server, and you don't really know what is happening on the back end and how this is performed. Okay. Now, there is an API for everything, kind of. Okay. What do you mean by this? There is an API for everything. Okay. So if you observe, like I would show you the real life example of this. Let's open the website of Postman. And I would show you an interesting thing about Postman itself. See, here is where you can just observe the network request. Okay, see what happens. See, this is where, okay, how did I get the here? See, inspect and then edit it. Okay, inspect, then edit it. Just go to this website and observe what I'm doing. Okay, what is basically an endpoint? Okay, and endpoint is nothing but the address of it, I can say it. Okay, now see different things that are happening here. See, I would show you something. See, what happens is, let's say I came here. Now, what would happen if I just came here? Okay, you would see a series of events that is happening. See, I would do, I would just paste my Gmail for there. I would show you an interesting thing. You can do this on any website. Okay, if you do up this and then just observe here, see, everything is done. There is API everywhere. See, if I just click up this button, there would be something here. See what happened. So I would just show you again. There was a thing known as validate email. If you observe, see, there was an API. See, what is this? See what happened. Get subscriptions. Failed to authenticate. Okay, if you observe, see, there is a API that is happening. I would just show you this. See, unified V1 master get subscription. This is a get request and he sent it. Okay, then the status code 200 means that yes, this has been performed successfully. Then there is a kind of response that is coming up. If you observe, this kind of response what was also seen here, the JSON thing. API is everywhere. See, and if I just hit up this, see, I would again show you some more. Like API is everywhere. Just see this part, okay? Just see this part with care. You would see something like validate email, and then the page refreshes. Okay, so see, I would just show you this. And then I say abc.com. And then when I click it, sign up for free, you would see validate email. What is this? See, identify postman. So it went upon. Okay, so you can preserve the log. Here you can preserve the log so that it doesn't goes out of the scope. You can do that if something is going out of the scope. Okay, so now see what would happen here. abc.com. If I hit up this, what happens is they would first see if this email is valid or not. So for that also they have an API in Postman itself. Postman is also relied on API. See, I would see validate EML. See, they sent a identity.postman.com an authentication validate email. And this request was a post request. This is why if you paste up this in a browser, it won't happen. 404. But it is working. That is why responses are also coming because browsers are only capable of sending GET request. But in Postman, if you observe what was happening in the Postman thing, you can send like I showed you, you can send a post request also. Okay. Now what happened? See here, you can send a post request also. I would just show you that those things. See, if I just change up this validate email post request, this was what post request, and then I just try to replicate this. Okay, and then what all things went with him. Okay, response header www.postman.com, they have the response here, so this won't happen. And then they have the response here, failed to show responses. So that is why it kind of validates your email. So see here, the validation thing happens. So API is everywhere. If you open up ChatGPT also, there would be an API for that. Okay, like I would show you for this. See, you can see in the Geeks4Geeks also they rely on API. See, this is done. When I click on the notes, see, everything is there on the API. See, fetch, see, practice api.geeksforgeeks.org. This is not geeksforgeeks.org. This is their API servers that we are hitting. Okay. So see, what is it sending? If you just request URL, get. What is this happening? Let me just show you. If I add a request, add request. If I just paste up this, see, I would just send it. Okay. Session expired. Why? Because there was no cookie. I can't really take up that and use that. Why? No cookie. Session expired. Session expired is what? Cookie or something. That went there. Okay. See, batch slug, API testing postman. Let us confirm. See, API testing postman. And if you change up this, there is one more thing. You would observe a change in the parameters. If I change it to live, it would say tab is equals to live. If I change it to chapters, tab is equals to chapters. API is everywhere. And there is an API for most of the things. Okay, that is what I meant. So basic API is a cloud server where we can access our data. No, processing of data also happens. Okay. How long will it be? It would be for the next 30 minutes. I think so. It would be for the next 30 minutes, I suppose. So now let's go back to where we were. Okay. This was the applications of API that is done in the real world industry. Even the website of Postman uses API. Even Geeks for Geeks, where every one of you came up, they also rely on API. Okay. Now let us move forward. So this is the definition again. What is an API? Let us move forward. Now I told you a partner API, public API, private API. Okay, what is this all about? Public APIs are the APIs that everyone can access. Okay, like I gave you that cat facts. I gave you and it was working fine. But I was just trying to replicate that practice API thing, that the practice API.geeksforgeeks.org. It was not working. If you observe. Why? Because that is a private API. And this is a public API, which is open for everyone. And this is partner API. What is this all about? Partner APIs are the APIs that are used to show or to use someone let's say I have a very big service. Okay. Let's say the best example here, it is already mentioned, the Facebook marketing. What is this all about? Let's say Facebook is in a Facebook, there are things known as promoted. Like if you observe, like in the Amazon, there are list of things that are there. Now, if I want to show the same listing on my websites of Amazon links only, I would ask for them API. Okay, partner APIs. Like Uber is using the map API. It is a partner API. They have bought it. Okay. Now, what are some of the examples of the APIs that you have come across? You already have came across many APIs. Okay. And now there are some more APIs to this. Okay. There is an API for everything, most of the thing. Everything that you want to, most of the things that you want to do out there in the tech, most of the things, I would say there is an API. Okay. Now, this is where the API in action, that this is where this kind of is this. I've shown you the real life implementation of this. Now, earlier this used to happen. This is already explained. Now, moving on behind the scene. This is what happens behind the scene. Okay. The client makes a request to the API. What is a client? Client is my laptop. It would make a request to that API. An API would go to the API server. And this is what the chef is making the food. And then he is coming back. Next, let us move. Okay. Now, there are some different terminologies or the anatomy of a request that are method, endpoint, parameters, header, and body. Let me give you a brief of everything. Method is the post method or the get method. Delete method, put method, patch method. These are the different methods that you have. For simplicity of understanding, just as of now, understand two simple methods which are most widely used. Okay. The get method is to retrieve information. The post method is to update everything. What is the endpoint or the path? So most of the time it is referred to as endpoint only. And what is this endpoint all about? Endpoint is nothing but the address that you are looking for. It is like the phone book directory. Like if I call up this number, it would make a call to that person associated. It won't call someone else. If I want to call someone else, let's say I want to call my girlfriend number would be different from let's say my manager's number. It would be different. It won't happen that I would call my manager and that call would be headed towards my girlfriend. That won't happen. Okay, that won't happen. They don't tangle with each other. There is an address for everything. That is why to make this addressing thing segregated, we have an endpoint and we refer to that address as endpoint. And then we have the parameters. Okay, what was basically parameters? parameters, see if you observe here, parameters are the things that you require. See, if I just hit up, if you just hit up this, then it would open chapters. Okay, if I hit up this, like I would just show you this. If I just hit up this, it would display the chapters. It is displaying me the chapters. But if I hit up this, it would show me the notes. Let us see this. What is happening here? If you observe, this is the end point. This is the end point. For both of them, this thing is same. For both of them, this thing is same. Okay. And this part is referred to as the base URL, geeksforgeeks.org. Okay, you would learn some more terminology. I'm just giving you a little more understanding. And this is the real life example of parameters. What you want from this endpoint? I want nodes. I want the tab of nodes. What you want from this? I want the chapters. And you can do the same thing for notice and leaderboard. Okay. Now, again, let us move forward. Now, this is where the get method is to retrieve information. Post method is to send or update the information. Put or patch is to update and delete. Like this is some more segregation. Okay, like what happens is, if you are at the beginner level, you can just move forward with get and post. But then when you want to be more specific, then when you want to update information, you would use patch method. When you want to delete any information, you would use the delete method. And then this is the protocol, HTTPS. Okay, let us see this in action. What is this protocol? Connection is secure. I would just show you what is this protocols. So basically, this is the protocol, HTTPS, Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Okay, okay. There are different other protocols also, like for a like if the server is not public for you to see, then the protocol would be different for everyone. Okay, now let us move forward to the parameters. Like I told you now, query parameters start with a question mark. See, query parameters start with a question mark. Parameters in practice, to not just follow the PPT and not to show you the real life implementation. That is why I'm just doing this parallel. Path parameters. Path parameters is a thing that you would move forward, like you would understand after a certain point of time. Path parameters are more like you would do this. Okay, like if you open up any other batch, after this batch, this would change. Like till the batch thing, if you have enrolled in any other courses of Geeks for Geeks, this one would remain the same. Only this part would change. This part would change. Okay, this is known as path parameters. See, path parameters. Okay. Then there is a request header. Okay, request headers also. So basically there is a thing known as cookie also. I showed you, no? Like not authorized. How did it know that it is not authorized? Told you, no? Cookie is there, content type, user agent, authorizations are not, lot others. Okay, then we can also send in the body. Okay, and it forms in the JSON. Data types, JSON, GraphQL, XML, you can get the data in different forms. Okay, but widely, most of the time it is JSON. Okay, now we have some status code. 200 is for a successful one. And I would show you this in action. I would show you this. See, there would be some of the APIs. I would show you that. See, what does this happen? See, if you just hit up this, See. Okay, see. Here we have a 200. What does this 200 is for? Yes, this was fine enough. Yes, he has registered it. See, he has registered it. That is the status 200. If you observe, like if you just go to this has working fine. 200, okay. Yep, this is fine. But there is one more thing if you observe scheduler. See, if you see up this 404 not found. And if you go back again, if you observe, these are some of the common things. 404, see, 404 not found. People use it. Now, what is the essence of this thing? Let me just tell you. First, I showed you the how all where this all comes into picture in the real life. But now let me tell you that what do you mean by status code? So see what happens is, let's say I told you, my friend is working in the kitchen to make food for my restaurants. Okay. And I am just working at the restaurants to manage everything. So let's say I told my friend that if ever you don't feel like making food, say no to me. In that scenario, a customer would come, request the food. I would tell him, can you make food? He would say no. I would take the no and tell him, see, food can't be made today. And I would tell you a reason for that. Same thing is happening here. He requested that I want this thing, but he didn't found it. And then it told 404 not found. If something is working all good, then it is 200. And you would observe many other things also. Like it is not just 200 everything. You would see some other status codes also. See, blocked and all, like I would just show you. See, 204. What is this 204? Let us see that. See, no content. 204 is for no content. There are different, like he would say, like there are different responses my friend can tell me now. Yeah, said that I would make the food, but it would take some time. I tell him, okay. I told to my customer that the food preparation would take time. Different response. Yeah, Siddharth, I would be making the food. 200 response. No, Siddharth, I won't be able to make the food. 404, not found. These are some examples that you can use to understand it. Okay? And these are the type of learnings you should inculcate in yourself also. Okay, now let us move forward. See, you can just use this Postman. There is a thing known as workspace. Let's say I'm working on 4 or 5 projects at this point. I'm a senior developer. I'm handling 2 or 3 projects. So I have different workspace for everything. But in the case of terminal, this is not really possible. Okay. So now let us just go back to this. Where is that? And then we have generate code and all. Generate code to make an API call. This is what I did now. I copied the code snippet and then I used it. See, you can do that here also. Any questions? So if you're not able to find the PPT, I would give you a better hack of this. Okay. A better hack would be, I would be sharing my LinkedIn to you and you can just ping me up there and I would send you the PPT. Okay. So now the very next thing is the next module that is there. First module is all about knowing the API, completing all the small tasks of it. Now, when you know all the ins and out of API, and when you have successfully attempted the very first module, me and you would again meet. Then I would again prepare you for the next phase of this. And then you would start building up your first full stack app, that is the AI text summarizer app. And it is the project based learning in Postman Academy. Where it is, Siddharth? This is here. Project based learning, build an AI text summarizer app itself. Learn how to build a full stack web app powered by AIs and APIs that summarizes text with the help of Postman. Before next phase, me and you would again meet if things goes well. If Geeks for Geeks have a good review of me, if they're willing to continue with me, else someone else would meet. But if things goes well and the feedback is good from your side, we would meet again. And then I would again tell you all the prerequisite, how to prepare for it. Okay. And then we have the Thanksgiving. Okay. So now what is the takeaway from this? Okay. When I first explored API, things got interesting. Okay. So what you can really do is even things like this. Like, see, if I could just go to this network tab, if I just write hi, I'll show you something. See, I send him the message. Okay, where it got, Siddharth? See where it got. See, okay, chat.openai backend API conversation. And this is the post request. Okay, and in the payload, they would send everything. There are some other also. Okay, updated. So you don't really know for where from this response came up from ChatGPT, how this is processed. We don't know it. This high went on to their backend server, it was processed, and the response came and it was rendered here. Okay. So now what you Snehashish Kundu, please don't do it. Okay. So now, so this is where this things become interesting. So now that you know every API is kind of everywhere out there on the internet, you can start checking out APIs, like what all APIs does that really happen? How is this API performing? You can try to build something of your own. Okay. So now I would urge you that to play with API, but after you play with API and you found it interesting, then you should go and learn about the different type of APIs, public, partnered, and private. Then the different methods of an API, put, get, post, these all, okay, patch, delete. You should learn about those. Then you should also learn about the endpoint. Things look familiar. Now you know what is this all about. No? Okay. Things seem a little bit easy. Now I would start replying to your Q&A. Anyone has any doubts? Okay. Now I would give you my LinkedIn also, so that you can get the PPT from me, and you can just say a quick heads up if you want. I will just share my LinkedIn to you. Just a sec. So this is my LinkedIn. You can just send in a request and then you can ask me. I would try to reply everyone today or by tomorrow. I would just give everyone the link of this PPT. Okay. Now let us just give after. Okay. After doing this and the knowledge we gain, what swags will be given? You would be given swags after you complete this whole thing. Who have already completed got certificates from what will be the next step out of this boot camp? If you like, you can learn, you can ask your doubts, you can just align others, like you can reply others. Does hopscotch and postman do the same thing? I don't really have explored hopscotch. Tips to complete the phase 2, start building something. How long is the session? And it's going to be, yep. This is the end of the session. What sex means? Items? Okay, we don't really know what are the sex are about. Now you can send me a request. What is the last session of submission? I think 1 or 2 weeks. So what is query parameter? Okay, the query parameter are the things that you want. Let's say there is a simple endpoint. What is query parameter? Like I know the endpoint is my kitchen and the kitchen is located at this side. But what is query parameter? Hey bro, I want paneer chili. So he would give me a paneer chili. So paneer chili was a query param. Food is equals to paneer chili. Query param. Okay, how to get the certificate? If you complete up both the modules of that, and if you complete the course in the GeeksforGeeks, you would get the certificates from both. Like they would mail you. Okay. Yup. In the next session, we would learn how to create APIs. First, we learned about what is an API, how to test APIs, free APIs, and then we would be in the next session, we would create APIs. Okay, next session date would be in the next 1 or 2 weeks, and next session date would be there in the the mail. Only replying to women, please acknowledge us also. No, brother, absolutely not. I'm a teacher, and this doesn't really happen at my phase. So it's just that there are a lot of messages. If you observe, there are more than 200 people to cater. No? Okay, how can we get any API for our purpose? So see, every purpose can't be solved with a free API. Every purpose can't be solved with a free API. For something, it might exist that there is a private API. So you need to create something of your own. Okay. Deadline for the course one, next 1 or 2 weeks. Okay. By the way, Arun, it was great. Like you made everyone laugh. Okay. I'm done with the certification. I think, how do I find this course? You can find this course. How do I find? I thought most of you are coming from this course only. Okay, now let me reply to some of the comments. Zoom call also relies on API. No, there is one more concept. Like if you observe, if you go out and if you see that Google Meet, there is a concept of the instant messaging happens through WebSockets. You can explore that also. Okay. So is Postman is useful for front-end developer? Yes, Postman is useful for the front-end developer because the back-end developer would give you an API. Say, use this API. And you need to first test that API in the Postman and then integrate it. So you should have that knowledge. This is a get method. What is get method? Post method. Where we would get the recording, you would get the recording in the dashboard. Can I get the recording of the class for the future referring? Okay. So the people working in the backend like Kartika and Deepak, huge shout out to them. It was not just me in the front end speaking. There were two people backing me up, that is Kartikeya and Deepak. So they are my colleagues and they were in the backend to manage everything. Like everything is managed at that. Okay. Thank a quick shout out to them also. So I think we are good enough. I'm searching, but I can't. What happened? Can you anyone tell me? Can we? Yep. Who work on API? The full stack developers, the backend developers works on APIs. Do we need to give any in GFG portal for this bootcamp? No. All the assessments would be done in the Postman. Okay. Chalo. I think we are good enough. Thanks a lot. It was very nice meeting you up. As the crowd is large enough, if you can just have your like video turned on. I can just take a picture as a memory, and then we can just. So everyone, I would urge everyone who can just turn on their video can quickly turn on their video. I would take a snap of this, and then it was nice. So I can see people out of India also, like Stephen Frost and Devin. That's great, nice. Okay. So, yep. Okay, there are many people outside India. I thought majority of you are from India. How can we apply for Postman Leaders Program? You can just search on it. Okay, there are people. Okay, so I would now take a snap of this. Okay, I would just take a screen. It was nice talking to you all. Thank you, everyone. If everything goes well, we would meet again. Bye bye.